The community voted for Goresh for the Ultimate Guide on 2024, so let's update this boy from the last couple of seasons to the current seasons on what you should be running with the main man. Hello everyone, yes, smash a like, comment and subscribe for more daily videos with me, MrSneakyy, the one and only, and we're here today talking about Goresh since you guys voted for him through the community post. And obviously if you want to participate in the next community post, all you gotta do is hit the subscribe button, like this video, and obviously check over to the community section and participate, and obviously vote for your favourite. So what we're going to do is go through the skills, pairings, obviously war pets, artifacts, all the shebang that you need to actually understand how to play this hero, because he is a fantastic hero, right? So first, let's go through his skills. First skill, pretty powerful. You're going to get a 50% increase on your physical attack bonus, but 15% damage taken reduction for 6 seconds. Really, really good. It just basically bunches you with a bunch of stats, right? Bunch of attack, bunch of damage reduction, so you can actually tank through the damage. From here, we have the second skill. The second skill gives you 20% counterattack damage bonus, which is absolutely fantastic for dealing damage. And then we get infantry unit defense bonus. This is actually a really important one because it means we're reducing basically all of the damage that we're taking, right? Defense is basically breaking down. Instead of taking 150 like magic damage, you might be taking 130 damage just because you've got that increase of defense. So really, really good skill for us to tank even further. But where all of the damage and power kind of relies into the Goresh is obviously the third skill. When Goresh launches a counterattack, they have a 50% chance to deal additional damage to 5 surrounding legions. Each additional legion target reduces damage taken by 15%, but this can be triggered up to 2 times per second. So it means you can deal 200 damage twice within 1 second, meaning that's 400 damage. Times that by 5, that's 2,000 AoE damage being dealt really quickly. Obviously, that is getting reduced from the 15%, just to obviously let you guys know. But it is insane how you're able to deal that amount of damage, right? The final skill that we don't really care about, but if you are spending, you will be awakening your Goresh for this, since you will be using him as a, pass garrison potentially, is gonna be your 20% attack bonus whenever you besiege a city or a stronghold. So strongholds are passes and other buildings, anything that's basically can be attacked or garrisoned, meaning if this new meta does unfold as this video with the brand new rally and garrison flags, who knows if it's going to come out or not, this is going to be very, very important for that style of gameplay, right? So it's going to make this guy really high tier on the picking order on what you need. When you do awaken him, you will get a 10% increase on your physical attack bonus and a 5% increase on that resistance trigger on your skill 1. So you're just making yourself a little bit more stronger and a little bit more tankier when you have it maxed out. But when you have him all the way through, it is a absolute monstrous of a hero. So if you're wondering about the skills though, the best way to have him, honestly, you can look at mine and it gives you a big clear tell. You want your Goresh 5551, guys. And he's the best investment for you. You can honestly leave it at that and get everything you need stat for stat, because for us like free to players or low spenders that have access to Goresh, you really do not need this fourth skill, and pumping up another 360 plus heads into this skill just to awaken him for these 2 little stats, you could have honestly put in those heads into another hero and got them to like 5-5 and possibly 5-1 as well with that. So it's really important you don't waste those heads. However, when we're looking at his pairings, the obvious pairing with Goresh that we need to obviously talk about is Skogul, right? Skogul Goresh did come out at the same time, and Skogul is the enabler for Goresh. A lot of people don't realize this, but Skogul is actually really, really powerful comparatively to your Goresh. Because Skogul, no matter what, even in the future with infantry heroes, her ability in Blood Fury allows you to get a guaranteed double counterattack trigger. Meaning, with your Skogul and Goresh, you're going to allow him to actually trigger that 200 damage skill factor twice, per second. That's all because of this one first skill. That's just how good of a hero she is. When you pair both of these two up, you are going to get the maximum out of it, all because of the way this hero is designed. She wants a bunch of attack and obviously more attack, but when you do awaken her, she increases the counterattack damage even further. So she is a very brutal counterattack damage based hero, and you can see why with counterattacks she is very, very good with Goresh. Now, I'm going to talk about the other heroes in the game and give you guys my opinions and explain why you can use them and don't use them, right? First things first, we'll just go over Garwood, right? Garwood, you don't honestly really want to use with Goresh. A lot of people have been trying to do it, it just does not work, and the thing is, with it, they both have a damage taken reduction skill. So the way damage taken reduction of just skill buffs work in general, the stronger buff overrides the weaker buff. So if you were ever going to consider using Garwood for some reason with this hero, you can see he does a 20% damage reduction comparatively to your Goresh at 15%. So if you actually have your Goresh first, for one turn only, you will get a 15% damage taken reduction. Then the Garwood will then trigger and then override it, and then you're going to get 20%, right? So, is it worth it? No, I would not do this at all. It's not been a really good at performance. However, one actual match that isn't too bad, which is surprising, and you can use this for a variety of reasons. Maybe you run out of stamina on your Skogul, or you just try to use something to obviously clear thoughts, which is kind of funny, is Nika. Nika with your Goresh actually isn't too bad, I'm not going to lie. Nika will reduce their HP by 30%. So when that 30% bruise is online, you will see the actual skill damage of your AoE increase for a nice amount. Honestly, you normally see about 200 to 300 damage added on, which isn't too bad at all for just having this hero here. On top of it, obviously, she does grant you some march speed, but more importantly, she does give you a 20% counter-attack damage bonus. Mine isn't awakened, so I don't know how powerful the awakened version of this match is, since obviously anyone who's getting lower and lower are going to start taking bleed effects, right? But this is one you could consider using with Goresh. It's not too bad, but it doesn't nowhere near outperform Goresh Skogul. That is the #1 match, just to remind you guys. Now, the final one is the Madeline. And Madeline isn't actually too bad as well, because the same thing, she is going to grant you a physical attack bonus, and this is going to be, again, as you see, weaker than your Goresh skill. However, what you could do is put Madeline primary if you wanted to, and then let this one ride over. So you get a 20% for one turn, then you're going to get a 50% the next turn. The cool thing with Goresh and Madeline, though, to be fair, is because you get this nice AoE skill damage factor. You kind of double in on what Goresh does with the Madeline skill 4. It's not the greatest thing, but you still get 15% counterattack damage bonus and 15% HP bonus. And obviously, you're still gaining, when you have her awakened, that nice shield, right? You're gaining the shield, which is really, really powerful, plus the damage resistance now from that skill. So it's really, really cool that this is going to give you some tanking capabilities, but again, she does not really work that well with the Goresh. So if you want my humble opinions, try and keep Goresh with your Skogul, and that's pretty much it, guys, when it comes to the infantry commander pairings, when it comes to Goresh, unfortunately. Now, we'll go to the actual kind of cool part, right? The war pets. There is 3 war pets you can actually run on Goresh. Each 3 have their different reasons and different purposes when you are using them, right? A lot of players will only tell you to use one pet, which is going to be the Venomous Lizard, right? The Venomous Lizard is going to be the best pet for the most consistent base damage. And the reason is that because of the infection, right? The infection trigger is a very far attack range. Anyone that's basically attacking you from anywhere is going to get triggered from this infection damage, which is really nice. However, if you are more of a player that you believe you're stronger and you're decimating the enemy's front lines and you can get to the back lines even further, honestly, the Brown Bear is devastating. The Brown Bear does do more damage than the actual venomous lizard. However, the Brown Bear is just harder to use, right? It has a smaller range than the venomous lizard. The Brown Bear's range of damage, funny enough, is the same range as your Goresh's skill 3. So you can see them work both meaning to work together. So you can definitely put this on. I use this actually a lot more than my venomous at the moment, and I actually do get better reports with this way worse build than I do with the venomous lizard, because I'm just able to get into the fight and keep this right on top of enemies, which is really, really powerful. If you don't own a good Brown Bear and you don't own a good venomous lizard, the other actual all-star is the sand lizard, because a lot of people don't realize that sand lizards are one of the most versatile pets in the entire game, and you can actually build this pet a variety of ways. You can actually keep it the way I've got it, and then when you get down to this bottom side, you can actually go down the counter-attack talent route. That's going to build for a counter-attack damage build and heal your infantry. And the cool thing is with Sand Lizard, like I said, it's going to heal your infantry, allowing you to sustain and hopefully just survive that little bit longer in the battlefield, comparatively trying to deal damage, right? So you can choose to deal damage with either the Brown Bear or the Venomous Lizard, or if you want to try and be a little bit more tankier, the Sand Lizard is going to be your actual choice, because it's just a really good pet, but it's really underrated for numerous ways, right? So those are the different war pets that you're going to be rocking when it comes to, obviously, Goresh. Now, the final thing, the artifacts, right? Artifacts, artifacts, artifacts. What are the best artifacts? Well, obviously, Spiritborn Tog is the one to go for, right? This was designed specifically for Goresh and Skogul. It has everything they want in it. So it's a 400 cost rage. It will grant them 600 rage instantly once you trigger this active, and it will taunt 5 surrounding enemy legions for 3 seconds. And obviously this skill will increase, right? So you can see the taunt duration goes up to 5 seconds of taunt. You will get a defense bonus, as you can see, up to 30%, and a normal attack reduction of 10%, as well as when you have it equipped, you get a passive bonus of counter-attack damage, which scales all the way to 20%. So you can see here already 10% more counter-attack damage for a level 1 Spiritborn Tog is crazy. It's cracked. And this is why you kind of want this, right? You want to taunt enemies so they're on top of you, your counter-attacks hit, all of these skill damage hits. It's kind of the bread and butter for this match, right? But if you don't have this, what would you run? What would you run if you don't have Spiritborn Tog? You're not a big whale and you don't have access to it. My actual go-to, I've been using a lot more, is still my Dragon Scale Armor. It's a really powerful artifact for infantry. A lot of people do not use this when they should be. It gives you an insane amount of HP. Look at that, 50% extra HP. Yes, please. On top of that, it gives you damage reduction and damage dealt by 6%. This is at level 4. Obviously, it goes to 7.5% at level 5. But then on top of this, we're going to get a boon shield of 3900, which we never had access to, which is really good because it means we tank even more damage. And it grants us Keen, an extra 10% attack for 10 seconds, meaning all of our damage is increased. As well, we have an additional effect. Your Legion gains range resistance when the wielder gains a shield through rage skills. So you can try and swap this out when you're rocking, obviously, more like a Goresh Madeline if you really wanted to, or have a little bit of, you know, hypothetical. But I don't really care about too much of this at the moment. I really enjoy all of this. This is really, really powerful. However, if you do get the right setup, you are able to get a range resistance of 15%. It's not too bad at all. I just like the raw tankiness of this artifact. That's a really good one. Another one which is just as good, and you can imagine it is the baby brother of the Spiritborn Tog, Greyma's Warhammer. Really powerful. Again, it's going to give you a massive amount of defensive stats, which is really important to take in damage. As well, you're going to now be able to obviously stun targets. So you're going to be able to run in, stun them, and as long as they are stunned for 2 seconds, you're going to get that free AoE damage off. So that's a really good little combination there, right? So nothing too crazy. And this is just another good option. If you don't have access to anything like that, some people would suggest using the Dragon Rift. I don't like it on this match. Why? It's just, I need tankiness. I think you need more tankiness to make this match more viable. And Dragon Rift, don't get me wrong, does an absurd amount of damage, but I just don't feel like this is the artifact that you want equipped on here, right? But that's my opinion there, right? You can put in the comments if I'm wrong. You can say that. That's my opinion there. When it comes to other artifacts, though, you don't really have much choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we're coming down into the infantry lineup here, like, we don't really want to use Butcher's Blade. This is just something we can't use. And again, this isn't only available for PvE content. So again, we can't really use this, right? So that is going to be all of the artifacts for the Goresh I've gone over for you guys, right? So now we've gone over the skills, we've gone over the war pets, we've gone over the artifacts, and we've gone over the hero pairings. You know what time it is, the final section, the talent pages. So we've got 2 talent pages I'm going to go over, the one that I am running mainly, and another one that you can optionally use for different purposes. So let's go down each of these talent trees. So this is going to be the very first talent page that I've been using mainly now, and it's going to look a bit crazy, I know, but I will talk your way through it, because we are all in on the infantry tree. I am honestly convinced the infantry tree is the just best tree for infantry at the moment, because the thing is, when you compare, you know, talent per talent, for stat, you're always going to get more in the infantry-based tree comparative to the tank one, right? So a good way of just showcasing this is 15% infantry speed compared to 10%. I'm losing this because it's an overall buff compared to being a strict unit buff, right? So what we're going to do in here is pretty simple. I'm going to go down the infantry defense first, then we're going to grab egoism to take less hero skill damage, and then we're going to get assassins in waiting. This is actually a really powerful talent I've started to fall in love with, because it allows me, in certain situations, to run into combat, do a bunch of damage, and then run out. And when I get really, really low in certain scenarios, it gives me that extra chance to get out. And it means if my units don't die, obviously I can just send them home. I don't have to worry about the hospital bill as badly, and I can send my infantry back out. So I really do like assassins in waiting. It does allow infantry to get in and out of combat a lot more easier, and I think that's one of the main issues when you're playing infantry you need to get into, is just movement based combat, right? So then we're going to go for cool-headed. I love this. Whenever we gain rage skills, we're going to gain that extra defense. Nice and easy to understand. Then this is where things might look a little bit crazy, but we'll go down the easy path first. So we're going to go down the all-conquering. Then we're going to grab last word, and then we're going to get encouraging dance into Iron Will, right? So what this is going to allow us to have basically is a massive amount of damage taken reduction, counter-attack damage, and more importantly, some rage generation, because we don't have any rage generation on the other side of the tree unless we go all the way over here, which is for the same buff, right? So what we're going to do then from here is grab Iron Will, and Iron Will is becoming my actual go-to one, right? A lot of people might be running Ready for Battle, which is giving them an 8% chance to launch an extra counter attack when they hit with a normal attack. This is obviously really good if you're going to try and maximize that whole skill 3 RNG. However, what I've found to love and preferred more is Iron Will. It's going to actually increase all of our rage skills buff durations by an additional second. So what that means is our physical attack buff we get from Goresh, our damage reduction is all increased by an additional second. Then if we pair this with our Skogul, our Skogul's HP buff and the Blood Fury again is going to be buffed by an additional second. So this is so powerful to allow us to keep up those important rage skill buffs, to keep doing damage and to take damage. So I really, really enjoy actually Iron Will now compared to the other one. So this is going to be my first 43 points. Now you've got 17 points remaining, you're going to start putting them back into the infantry tree. And the first place I would honestly put all points straight away is going to be in flank protection. The amount of times you are surrounded by players is ridiculous. And in the past, I used to play flank protection at like 2 and then run encouraging dance at 3. So we had that 30% extra, you know, damage reduction from surrounded damage, as well as gaining, you know, a bit of rage from this skill, right? But now it's just taking 75% is so needed, guys. You are always going to be surrounded by multiple units. You are always going to be running into the front line, so there's going to be multiple frontline units hitting you. There's going to be you running into the back line at times if you win, meaning you're going to be in front and surrounded again by multiple ranged units, but you're in melee range now. So this is so powerful, and it honestly allows you to deal a bunch of damage and actually survive a lot longer than you think. So what I went for after here, and this is where I think this is the best, honestly, the best talent in the infantry tree, and it is generalist. This is absurd. Absolutely an absurd talent infantry users get access to. And if you do not have generalist on any of your infantry trees, you are a troll. You do not know what you're missing. Because when you're in battle, you have a 10% chance, guys, to trigger all stats, attack, defense, and HP bonus, all for 5%. For 1 second. And the cool thing is, this actually does not have a cooldown. It does not state one, and we've been trying it. It does not have a cooldown. Even the professor, the main man, who was like, bro, this skill is even more broken. Back in the day, this was going months ago, right? Months ago. Could not believe this does not have a cooldown. And to this day, it still doesn't. This is one of the best talents in the entire game. Just getting basically 15% worth of stats at a 10% chance, and it can just keep going is just crazy how often this gets triggered, right? So really, really powerful one for us. Then what I've done, as you can see, is I actually went down and grabbed the march speed, right? So having that 15% march speed is so important now, because it's going to give us the movement speed combination to finish things off, right? It's going to let us get into battle and get out of battle even easier, since we're already tanking all the damage we need to tank, which is really, really all we need to do, right? Then you have 2 points left over, and you could put the 2 points, honestly, wherever you kind of want. However, I actually kind of like putting the 2 points in that cav tactics. It's just nice to have 2% damage against cavs, right? You're going to be able to peel against them. If you see a cav coming, you can just charge at them with your berserker charge, knock them out, get them that massive slow on them, and then you're dealing extra damage to them with your unit advantage, and everyone else behind you is absolutely lasering them down. So this is going to be my build, right? So again, just to run down things first, just to give you a nice TLDR of this build, you're going to be running infantry defense, egoism, into assassins, into cool-headed, going into all-conquering, last word, into encouraging dance, and then iron will. That's your first branch. And then with your last 17 points, you're going to be putting them into flank protection, generalist, infantry speed, as well as your cavalry tactics. If you have, guys, any preference, by the way, if you prefer to put them at infantry speed in first over generalist or flank protection, go for it. I'm not going to shout at you. As long as you get to this end game build, that's all you care about, right? Especially with the new mechanic coming in, where heroes aren't going to reset. So this is really, really good. So this is the build I am currently running. It is honestly fantastic when you start to use this. You will not regret it. However, there is another build floating around. This is going to be down the tank tree. And this is more of a build where if you're trying to just purposely be a bit more jack of all trades and you don't want to be all in on that attack like I am, where I'm just taking as much damage as possible, this might be the build for you, because this one does generate a little bit more rage compared to that build, and you do have some good tanking capabilities still, but one of them is a restriction, right? So I'll explain that in a moment. When we're going down this whole infantry tree, you're going to do the same thing. I would actually go down the infantry tree first when you're playing this build, just to get it over and done with, because getting that 15% march speed is going to save you so much headache in the future and in the long run. So if you get all your first set all in here, you're going to be good. Once you've done that, you're going to be finishing off then with all the last like 43 points into the tank tree. The tank tree is pretty easy. We're going to go straight into overall defense, swift analysis, and encouraging dance. This is the exact same skill as like before, so we're going to gain some rage, which is really nice whenever we're being hit. This is really nice as well because we're reducing counterattack damage we take from other Goresh skullgirls and other infantry managers that we could be running into. So this is why it's a really good one, because people don't have this and you do, you're going to have a nice advantage against them. Then on top of this, we definitely take Unyielding Spirit, just reducing hero skill damage, where this is the main cause of all the deaths. This is what kills you. You're an infantry player, you don't like hero skill damage because it's a major thing. Just reduce all of it. And obviously it's going to reduce any Goresh skill damage that you're going against. It's a really good, again, powerful skill in the long run of things. Then what I go into is overall health. Obviously, boosted out health is an absolute must. If you can take health, you're always going to take it, because it's the most lucrative stat and it makes actually your units a lot more tankier than you think. Then on here, we're getting a 5% HP bonus, which is on top of that whenever we get hit. Again, no cooldown, guys. 3 seconds, you're going to have this, and you could get it up again straight away. Who knows? But it's 10% chance to gain vigor, increasing their HP by 5%. And then this is where the restrictions start to apply, right? So your legions will get 10 more rage as long as they're above 50% while they're launching a normal attack. So you're basically now getting that little bit extra on top, right? This is not too much, but it's enough to get your skills, honestly, a turn quicker than other players. And then the other restriction we kind of run on this build is Hearts of Iron. So we need to make sure, which is a bit crazy, we're below 50% for this to be online. But when we are below 50%, it's gonna make us so much more tankier. Reducing all normal attack damage by 8% is so beneficial against all the Magzes, all the St. John Fregas, you name it, all the future archer heroes coming out. Reducing all of that damage is very, very key, especially when you remember we do run Assassins in Waiting. So even at 30% HP now, we're going to get a 30% march speed bonus, as well as that 8% reduced normal attack damage, right? Love it, love it, love it, love it. So that is another page there. If you're going to ask me in the comments which page is the best, I personally will tell you this is my tree, and this is the one I believe is the best tree you can be running. Some people might disagree. Some people might say it's going to be some tree in this kind of configuration. However, it's just you do not get nowhere near the same amount of stats or points that you can get in the infantry tree. The infantry tree is absolutely cracked, guys. So with all of that, we've gone through all of the Goresh's skills, we've gone through his talent pages, we've gone through his pairings, artifacts, war pets, right? We've done all of that. If you don't know how to get Goresh to finish things off, he is accessible through the Strongest Lord event and the Wheel of Destiny when you first enter your Season 2. And then also, if you are a spender, you are able to buy him through the daily deals, just to remind you guys. So with all of that said, we've got all the information in one nice booking here. If you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something today with the Goresh boy, smash a like, comment, and subscribe. My name's MrSneakyy, the one and only. And until the next one, stay safe, guys. Stay sneaky. Peace out.